Hello. Good evening. Thank you. Welcome to Pecha Kucha Dundee. I'm not Gillian Eason, but she will be coming up on the stage in a short minute to introduce everything. My name's Lyle Bruce, and I am the other part of the Pecha Kucha setup. I'm up here to tell you about something we're doing that's kind of new tonight. Before I have to press the buttons. Can you turn the volume down, Ed, please? Hey! It was quite nice to have a backing tune. So Pecha Kucha is, for those of you who don't know, is 13 years old, and it started in Japan, in Tokyo, by Klein Architecture, and they're now in 800 cities, and we have the license for the Dundee one, and that's what you're at tonight. Can everyone hear okay? Is that working? A mic working? Okay, that's fine, that's good. So what we're doing tonight is we're doing a bit of live streaming. And it's the first time we've ever live streamed this, so that's why we're a couple of minutes late starting. We just want to check everything and make sure everything was working. So Stream Scotland, who have just set up, are kindly doing all the live streaming for us tonight. And I'm going to try an experiment, so you'll have to bear with me here. I'm going to go and activate the live streaming on the screen. And I want everyone to kind of point over at this camera here and give it a wave. But there will be a sort of 30-second lag while that happens. So don't expect to see yourself waving straight away. And if you think why you're sort of stuck there, then that's why. So, oh no. There we go, first fail. Let me just check this again. Let me just come out here and I'll do it from a browser. Okay, that might not do what I was wanting it to do, but we'll move on. You can all check. There's a little card on your seats, and it has about the live streaming on it. It's got a little drawing on it, and it has the details. It's creativedundee.com/live. So anybody you know out there who might want to watch the live stream can log into there and see it. And fingers crossed, people from all over the place are watching this, and hopefully people from the mothership back in Japan are watching it. They'll be up very late tonight to do it, but I'm fingers crossed they're trying it out and seeing what we're up to. So without any more holding things up, I'll pass things over to Gillian and we'll get on with the night properly.
Good evening. So I think we should say hello to everybody anyway, even if we can't see ourselves on screen. So 1, 2, 3, hello or something. Hello, everybody. Thank you. So yeah, it's quite unusual for us to actually be live streaming it out. We tried it once before and it was a bit of a disaster, so I'm sure it'll all go super smooth, as always with our technology here. Often. Yes, these are new guys. So yes, we've got a great lineup tonight. Really excited about the lineup. Really excited about everybody that's come along tonight. It's just so impressive to see Pecha Kucha grow and grow. So I'm not going to say very much other than maybe just a wee quick bit about Creative Dundee. We are a very small organisation that's been around for now officially 3 years, but a lot longer just as a sort of blog and stuff. And we help connect and amplify what's happening locally. And our aim is really to make sure that more people can stay in Dundee or in and around Dundee, obviously, and grow and sustain their practice, whatever that may be. So we do website stuff, we do lots of events like this, and we do kind of partnership projects. So we've got lots coming up this year, which maybe we'll get a chance to speak about later on. Sue, and we're also going to give you the chance, obviously, as always, to do the pass the mic bit. I'm going to limit it to 10 people this time, because last time it went on for ages. So get your hands up super quick. And if there's anybody on the live stream, am I on that live stream? I don't know where hello live stream. If there's anybody on the live stream that wants to feed into that, just send us a wee tweet as well. Okay, so it's exciting. Can I do a super quick, right, who's been to all 14 Pecha Kuchas? 1. That's my best friend Louise. Yay, thanks best friend Louise. Anybody else? Yeah, Ed, you don't count. Right, okay, I'm going to go. Sorry, in the nicest possible way, you don't count. So I'm going to do like 34. I'm going to try and count from 14 backwards, right? So 13. Yeah, 1, 2, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Oh, lots of threes. 2, 1. Yay! Okay, give yourselves a round of applause for that. Thank you. So Pecha Kucha is great because it lets you see what's happening locally, but also further afield. So tonight we have that great mix of people from all over. First of all, we're going to hear from Jack Wrigley. Jack's based in Glasgow, and he, I was kind of like, oh, that's really cool that you work in a roller skating rink as well as everything else. So he's an artist, photographer, and he's going to talk about amazing stuff that he does. And I get to see all the slides beforehand, so I'm not going to say much more. But Jack's doing a lot of work with Scottish Dance Theatre here in Dundee. So I'm going to welcome Jack. One rule about Pecha Kucha audience for the newcomers, what's that? Clap loads of loudliness. Okay? So clap.
Hello. So just firstly, I've got a bit of a cough, so this is sponsored by cough syrup, so if I break out into a cough. My name's Jack Wrigley. I'm over from Glasgow working with Scottish Dance Theatre, as Gillian just said. This is a self-portrait from 2005. As you can see, I was a lot younger and more handsome back then. I'm going to get some more lights on the punchlines, guys. Okay, so I grew up in Preston. This is Preston bus station. It was once the second largest bus station in Europe. It's known for its magnificent brutalist architecture, for its converging parallels, and it's here I first got into photography. I used to hang around like bumming fags off people, and I realised I didn't really have a way to participate, and so I started taking photographs. Anyway, I went to art school in Glasgow, and when I got there I realised that I didn't really want to make photographs, so I found these amazing workshops and started working with sculpture, but still keeping light at the centre of what I do. This piece is called Total Sense of Humour Failure, and it's essentially a light box that creates pattern and shape with light. At the same time, I was working on holography, a bit of a laser obsession, and this piece is from a show called The Orifices of Habitual Living, and what it is it's a negative space of a crack in a wall rendered in glass plate holography using red laser and light. So I became like really obsessed with lasers, and I bought this massive, I was going to swear then, I bought this massive laser, and this is a show that I'm currently working on with a girl called Aideen Walsh, who's a chord least performer, and Becky Hansen, a choreographer, and what we do is we create light shapes with this giant laser, and she performs hanging from a rope in it. We do it out at festivals, out at raves and theatres. Anyways, after I graduated from art school, I took over an old ice cream van repair factory in Partick, and me and a group of friends got together and we formed the 85A Collective. It's a non-hierarchical collective. This is our first show. It was a live rescoring of Stellan Rye's 1913 German expressionist horror movie, Der Student von Prague. This started my interest in film, and I started collaborating with a guy called Judd Brooke, who's a Canadian madman. This is the film we made. It's a 90-minute short. 90 minutes, not that short. It's a 90-minute silent film shot entirely on VHS. I worked as director of photography. It's about a guy with a factory for a head who escapes from a chain gang and is pursued across Glasgow's decaying industrial landscape by a bunch of rubber gimps. Okay, so this is the last show I worked on with 85A. It's down by the Clyde in Glasgow for the Commonwealth, and it was a real lesson in what goes wrong when you take big nasty corporate money. And so we took this money and we made this show, and it's about a boat crewed by rats. We had live music from likes of Golden Teacher, Mungo's Hi-Fi, all that sort of stuff. I also work with Untitled Projects, who are now defunct thanks to Creative Scotland. This is a show called Paul Bright's Confessions of a Justified Sinner. I was part of the design team on that as a photograph. It's based on James Hogg's novel of the same name, and it's a story of a Calvinist and his subsequent suicide. Oh, fuck, ruined it. Okay, so then I worked on Kane's book. Kane's book's a book by Alexander Trocchi, who was a Scottish beat writer living in New York in the 60s, and it's semi-autobiographical, and it's about heroin abuse and working on scows on the Hudson River. It's quite a depressing book, quite brilliant if you ever get a chance to read it. That's from our photography photography. This is the next show I worked on, which I designed and directed with a pal, Robbie Thompson. It took its lead from George Bataille's Story of the Eye, which is a pornographic novella. The idea was to get rid of all the actors and replace them with robots. So that's one robotic head we built. There's 23 motors out of 2, and these perform dialogues, pornographic dialogues. Okay, so why am I here? I got asked to work with Scottish Dance Theatre, who are a brilliant company, and we're working on a show called Velvet Petal. The starting point for this was a book called Just Kids by Patti Smith, and it's about her relationship with Robert Mapplethorpe, just seen on the right there, and he's a photographer, quite a brilliant photographer. If you don't know his work, you should check it out. So yeah, we've just sort of started doing that. In the process, we went out to Mexico City to work with some musicians. This is a shot from a gay bar just around the corner from my hotel. Went out and just hanging around, and what I was doing is I was photographing this guy, but actually when I developed the negative, what I noticed was over in this corner, you can't quite see on this projection, there's 2 people embracing, and it says up there, never give up on someone you can't go a day without thinking about. And I thought that it was quite interesting that what you see in the background sometimes you don't even notice. Anyway, we headed to Angangueo, which is a town about 130 kilometers northwest of Mexico. It was a silver mining town founded in the 18th century. You see some little boys here looking at a mural. So the town has a population of about 10,000, but we weren't there looking at the silver, although the silver's important because the silver is fundamental to the monochrome photographic process. This is the crucifix on the hill. So at night all the lights would go out and we're in this valley, and this thing would light up like 30 feet high, and it was just magnificent, you know. And we, on the last night, we took a trip up there and we like scrambled up the hill and took some photos of it. And anyway, I don't know why I haven't clicked, but what we were actually looking for was butterflies. One of the themes of the show is metamorphosis and symbiosis. I'd already found some butterflies in Mexico Zoo. Photograph zoological parks around the world. It's an ongoing project. Here's some butterflies going through the process of metamorphosis. So it starts as the chrysalis and then becomes a butterfly, but they're all in these like weird things. This is the butterflies we were looking for. So Angangueo, the silver dried up. In 1975, some people found that it was a migration site for Monarcha mariposa butterflies. Millions of them arrive there every year, and we went out to see them. It's like one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen in my life. It's thousands and thousands of these butterflies living there. They have a symbiotic relationship with flowers, so they wouldn't turn up at this site if it wasn't for the flowers there. This is a lily that I photographed in the yard of the hotel we were staying at. Robert Mapplethorpe also photographed lilies in quite a sexual way. They symbolise chastity and innocence, and for him they were a real celebration of beauty. Hey, these are the guys from Scottish Dance Theatre. This is the first day I worked for them. Here they are in a tray, developing. This is how you do research and development. What you do is you pop all the performers in a tray, and then you agitate them for about like 8 or 9 months, and then just what pops out is a show. And so this is the final slide. Susan Sontag said, "Life is a movie. Death is a photograph." And I think that's really interesting. As Robert Mapplethorpe faced his own death from HIV, he turned his camera away from himself and towards beautiful things, flowers. And I think that's pretty brilliant when you know you're going to die. Anyways, thank you very much for listening.
I need me some of that cough syrup, Jack. That was brilliant. Great way to set the tone, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Velvet Petal. Wow, we've got our next speaker up on stage. That's great spirit. So our next speaker, Mary Jane Baxter, has travelled around Europe in a mobile makery van, and formerly a BBC correspondent, and she's written a series of books, and she's going to tell us more about that. So please welcome Mary Jane.
Thanks very much for having me. So, Mary Jane's my name. This is my mobile makery, which is a craft studio on wheels. And I decided really that I wanted to have a craft studio because I live in a tiny flat in southeast London, no space to make. So I wanted to have a mobile studio so I could go around the country and make stuff. This is me in the start of the Bambi experience. The mobile makery is a Bedford Bambi. So if you hear me refer to Bambi, it's the mobile makery. It started life as a really dull white van. As you can see, it's not terribly attractive, doesn't look very crafty. So I decided to give it a bit of a makeover. What do? You wallpaper your van, guys, and you wallpaper it on the outside. So I wallpapered it with a load of wallpaper sample books that I found in a skip in Brighton. And much to the amusement of my neighbours in Deptford, got to work on the van and used lots of PVA glue to actually just give it a good coating of wallpaper. Then gave it lots of exterior varnish, and it works really well. So a couple of years on the road, all around Europe, and it's been fantastic. I can really recommend that you go home tonight and you wallpaper your cars. It's a real conversation point and gets people talking to you, which is what you want when you're travelling on your own. This is the interior of the van. As you can see, not particularly lovely. Not really a fan of pale pink chintz. And I do like a good before and after photograph. So this is the before. Looks pretty dire. And I thought, it needs upcycling and recycling. That's what I love doing, is using stuff that's been chucked out that you don't know what to do with. So I used a lot of tea towels for the seat covers, a lot of vintage fabrics that are found in Deptford Market down in southeast London, and just made it look really welcoming and homely. And it's amazing how many people will just come and pop in and chat because of the way it looks. So I go on the road, I do workshops all over the place. Much better to do it in the summer than the winter, because it's not very warm, there's no heating in there. So this is us doing a little workshop of brooch making. We were doing some Robert Burns brooches for Burns Night. And you can fit about 6 people in there. A Bedford Bambi's not big, but it's a bit of a TARDIS. I've got a couple of sewing machines. They're the hand crank version, so you can sew on the go. So if mood takes me, I'm in the middle of a field, get out my sewing machine, I can sew whatever I like. And it's a really great thing to be able to do. And they look beautiful. That one's from Taylor Auctions in Montrose. That's a photograph of a few friends having a go at using the hand crank machine. And for those of you who don't sew at all, it's a fantastic way of introducing yourself to sewing, because they're really easy to operate. But it takes 3 men to use that sewing machine. Sorry for the sexist joke. So headed off to Europe last April after taking voluntary redundancy from my former job as a correspondent and producer for the BBC. And even on the ferry, Bambi was getting quite a lot of admiring glances. And, it's quite a daunting thing to be setting off for 4 months driving around in a 60-mile-per-hour van. First stop was Brussels, where I used to work for the BBC. And when I was working there, I used to spend all my time off in the flea market. That's what I used to love doing. So I headed back there and put on a couple of workshops. And was helped by a lot of friends I still have there. Met this incredible woman. She is holding a sculpture which she made out of plastic combs. So everything she makes is out of vintage plastic. She's got this incredible collection of vintage plastic, makes these incredible sculptures which nobody ever sees. She sort of makes them obsessively and just tucks them away in her house, but she was just an amazing woman. Then I went to Paris and went to some of the artisan makers who still create some of the stuff for couture, so the flowers, the lace, the fabrics, and you can still meet the most incredible artisans when you go to Paris. And I just love meeting them and talking to them really and hearing their stories. Went to see friends on the border between Italy and France, and I got board and lodging in exchange for helping her update her camper van. So we made all sorts of curtains and tablecloths and really did a good job at making it look a lot more loved, because she really wanted to have a sort of more homely space in her van. Then I took the Petit Col San Bernard into Italy. I don't know if anyone's been down that route, but it's a black ski run in the winter, and it's open in the summer to traffic. And so me and my Bedford Bambi, all 60 miles per hour of us, and not very good brakes, unfortunately, went all the way up to the border and then all the way back down into Italy. It was quite a hair-raising journey. The Cinque Terre, don't know if anyone's been. Oh, it's beautiful. And I'd been there a few years before, and one of my goals was to return to the Cinque Terre with my van and sort of feel that I had managed to get that far. And it was just stunning, a stunning place to go. And wherever I went, the van would just attract people who would pop in. This was a woman who was a potter, and she just came in and chatted to me. Attracted by the van, and we talked about art, and I interviewed her, and she went back and brought me some pots from her studio to give to me to take with me on my journey. So that sort of thing happened all the time. Then I gate crashed a hat festival in Cassard in the southwest of France. 300 milliners from all over the world descend on this little town, which is one of the centres of the straw hat making industry in France. And I sold my books and met all sorts of people. Absolutely brilliant experience. That was a lovely woman who practices a type of embroidery in a town called Aigues-sur-Anglin, and she is 90 years old and one of the last remaining people in this village who practice this particular type of embroidery. And I very much wanted to meet these artisans and talk to them about the work they did. So I'm hoping to write a book about this trip. The 2 books I've published so far, all about making, recycling, and hopefully I'll get a publisher for this new one to talk about my trip around Europe. Thanks very much.
Wow, definitely well jealous of that. That looks great fun. Thanks very much to Mary Jane. All our speakers are really prompt tonight. It's incredible. Usually you have to kind of haul them out of the audience, but they're all lined up. Thanks very much. So next we have Julia Danilova, and she is a textile artist and garment constructor who has just recently graduated, and I think she's going to speak about something that's not even in her biog. So I'm just going to pass you over. So please welcome her. Thank you.
Hiya. I'm really sorry. It's the first time I'm speaking in microphone. So my name is Julia. I'm known to my friends as a crazy Russian. I'm originally from the Riga, Latvia. I happened to move to Scotland in 2007, so it's almost 9 years ago. One first thing that struck me about Scotland and my first day when I arrived in Scotland in March was a lot of daffodils. I love flowers, and for me it was just amazing how nobody take them off, like we would had ladies selling them on a corner, for money, So I was like, wow, this is amazing, and it was just inspiring. Then I got a job, and 3 years into the job, I thought, hey, I just have way too much spare time, and I thought maybe I should get another education. That way, I happened to start a course in Dundee and Angus College. That time was still Dundee College. I go into intro in art and design. I thought I would just check out if I'm any good, I did enjoy a lot. It leads me to H&D in textiles, and in 2014 I graduated in BA in design creativity. During my time doing BA course, I was doing one of the projects about feminism, and I thought, look, what is feminist to me is International Women's Day that is coming up on the 8th of March. This is what I grew up with, and I thought, great, this is something I can take further. But during this research, I find that a lot of feminism, as a term itself, has a lot of negativity, and I wanted to celebrate like I did celebrate any achievements in my life. Here's me with my auntie and my grandma and my graduation from my first university. So I came up with the different words during my research that people fed me throughout my questionnaire, and I thought I would come in and tell why they're important to me. First of them was always a strength. I was a lucky one to be surrounded by very strong women in my life, my mother, my grandmother, my other grandmother, and especially my grandmothers, who were an 80 was still in a garden doing all the gardening works. Second one is the freedom. I don't think I realize how much I don't really think about this, but how lucky we are to do things and how free we are to do things that we do. Like today, I'm free to come here and speak about what is important to me. Next one is probably the one that I relate the most, is pride. Going back to my upbringing, I was always told that I should take pride in being a woman and celebrate it with head held up high. It's something that is important to me. Next one is a voice. When I was thinking back to see how does voice relates to me, and I just popped out in my head that in 2003, I, as a young girl, a woman, had a choice to vote in referendum whether Latvia should join European or not, and I voted yes. And at that point, I didn't know where it leads me, but hey, so many years now, I'm living in Scotland. Powerful is something that sometimes is difficult to relate. On the other hand, the biggest probably example for me is my mum, whose mum is not a power woman, Wonder Woman that does everything. A choice. Choice is really important to me because whenever I choose to do something, I was always supported. I was always supported by my family, by my friends, by people around me. And it was really important that I could choose to do whatever I want and I could just go and do it and nobody would say anything to it. Next one is rights. And here, about the rights, I was thinking about education. How lucky we are that we can go and get an education if we want to. It might be not for everyone, but I was lucky enough that, again, I wanted to change skills, my parents supported me. I wanted to go to university, my parents supported me. I wanted to go here to university, my husband supported me. Woman is important for me is because throughout my journey, throughout my life, I met so many strong, powerful women that helped me out. Some probably don't even know that, but I will go and share on the 8th of March to all of them and reach out to all of them to say how much they influenced my life. Respect. The most memorable comment to me by a different person was from my fellow student in university who said to me, Julia, I respect you for the fact that if you ever get anywhere in your life, it'll be due to your intelligent not what between your legs. I bet it was a quote. So a change, I think as a change is it's a process. It's a process we go, usually a very painful process. But if it wouldn't be for a change, we women wouldn't be here and standing and giving us speeches here, And I think that's very important. One of the last ones is equality, and I do believe one day women will get paid the same money as men. It's been talked about a lot lately, and I hope that it will be a subject that will be discussed in further. All these words and what I was thinking about was why they were important to me, make up one big word, empowerment. And I think it's very important that we have this in our life, that we have something to empower ourselves from within and empower different people. So what I wanted to have as the end of this presentation is 8th of March is not far away. It's only a week and a half from today. So I would like maybe to encourage you to go out today after finishing until the 8th of March to go and share your stories about the strength or choice or how you think this is. You can tag me, you don't need to tag me, just share it with people, especially women in your life, because I think it's really important to empower ourselves and to empower others, especially others, because a lot of the time just a quick saying that you're doing a great job will make people's life. It's like a small things that you need to go further. So, thank you.
That was great. Well done, Julie. Oh, that was a big hug. That was lovely. Thanks very much. Really important stuff. And you've got one of the best accents ever, doesn't she? Just amazing. Okay, thank you. So next we're going to hear from Almighty Foods. If you've not tried, who's tried Almighty Foods products? Yeah, see, lots of love in the room for Almighty. They are almighty. They're brilliant. So they're Dundee's premier nutrient dense. I think I missed a word, but whoever gets to say that very often. So I got to. And they produce lots of tasty treats from all organic ingredients. And who'd have thought that mushroom chocolate could taste so good? Yeah, so please welcome Molly and Josh from Almighty Foods.
Hello everybody, I'm Molly, this is Josh. We're here representing our company called Almighty Foods. We are Dundee's premier food company. We specialise in creating raw organic chocolate and nut butters and make them all out of the finest ingredients. So thank you for having us.
So we've been asked to come up here, obviously, to tell you guys about our mission. So Almighty Foods all started from Molly and my passion for connecting with nature, for nourishing your temple, and your temple being your body, and not only your body but the earth as well. So looking at things on a very holistic level, and looking at things from the understanding that what we put in, we become, ultimately.
So this is our kitchen. It became an alchemical delight with loads of different potions and lotions lying about, and this is where we started to create different things. We became fascinated by the ingredients and plants that Mother Nature had to offer, and we started to experiment with these and create different foods.
So on our mission, we found the cacao bean, or the cocoa bean as many of you know it, which its botanical name is Theobroma cacao, which literally translates to food of the gods. And that it very much so is. It is nutritionally and pharmacologically dense, and in its raw form, it's very, very powerful. So we realised that if we were going to make fine chocolate, we needed to find some of the finest cacao out there, and ethically sourced as well. So we came across a company called Big Tree Farms, which are based in Bali, Indonesia, and they are a cooperative of different farmers who produce semi-wild cacao and coconut products from the rainforest. And this is one of the coconut tappers climbing the tree, the traditional methods, the exact same way they've done it for a very long time. And what they do is they climb to the top and they cut off the flour, and the sap runs out. They then take the sap, they boil it, evaporate it off, and there you go, you have coconut sugar. So now we have our beans and our sugar. We realise that we need to crush them down somehow to make the typical chocolate that everyone's used to. You know, Cadbury's is silky smooth. So we thought, well, we need ourselves something almost like this. But then we thought about it realistically and thought, I don't know how the food hygiene would feel about a donkey and chocolate together. So we settled for this.
So this is the early stages of our manufacturing unit, and we settled for getting these 3 small stone grinding machines, which are called melangers. And yeah, this was a total feat for us. We were really excited to be able to start producing our products. Had to go through the relevant planning permission to get the place fit for producing chocolate.
So once we had it all fit for manufacturing, we started to churn out different recipes and getting to know the stone grinders and getting to know chocolate as well. It's a very interesting substance to work with. So we were learning the differences in the textures and the flavours, and basically how to get the chocolate to look and form like regular chocolate, as everybody knows.
So this is a chocolatier's worst nightmare here. You can see there's bloom all over the chocolate, which means it's not tempered correctly. Chocolate is an art in itself, and once we started making it, we realised that it is a fine art. And yeah, it was a total triumph. When we move on to the next photo, we see here we have a perfectly tempered chocolate bar.
So this, after many trials and tribulations, many late nights and many hairs pulled out of our heads, we finally got the chocolate to temper. And this is, as I said, this is like a Cadbury's bar in its look, you know, it's what people conventionally know. And once we had this down, we thought, let's take it to market.
So this is our first creation, the Mindful Milk Chocolate Bar. We really care about the ingredients we put in our chocolate. So as you can see here, it's all raw, vegan, and full of premium botanicals, really good ingredients. So Mindful Milk is paying homage to the cows. We don't use any dairy in the chocolate bar, and yeah, we designed a really nice outfit for it with one of our very, very talented friends. This is another feat for us when we got our products into market. This is the health food store in Commercial Street who've been so supportive of us. And yeah, it's really great to be able to put Dundee on the map for organic health foods and whole foods, and yeah, it's amazing to be able to spread the love and joy that we put in our products with the people of Dundee. And now this is me, very close-up picture of delivering our chocolate to the Pillars of Hercules, an organic farm shop. That's another great thing that we get to do. We get to deliver all our products to the different people, to the different cooperatives and companies who are all so supportive of us. Again, we really support organic farming, so it's great to be able to give it to them.
Thank you. So this, the experimentations continued, and lo and behold, we created this creation, which is now known as the Cashew Caramello, which at the time we didn't know it was going to be called that. We just knew it was the best cashew butter we'd ever tried in our lives. So this is also stone ground, it's silky smooth, and to date it is one of our best sellers.
This is us at the vegan festival in the SECC that was in December. It's amazing being able to enter into this market. There's so many ethical people caring about where their food's coming from. It was a really amazing thing to be around all these different people that are coming to support ethical living and caring where their food's coming from. These are two very happy people getting to try Almighty Foods chocolate bars. It's really great when you give people the chocolate and the nut butters, you get to see their energy levels going up and how the food's actually affecting them when they're eating it.
Thank you. So this was a great time for us. This was just last week. We received just over a ton of organic ingredients. They came from the Netherlands, and we're very honoured to be supporting all these different farmers from across the world and artisans, and to be connected to them. And secondly, we're very proud that we sealed a deal with Green City Whole Foods, which is Scotland's premier wholesaler. So here is a photo of Molly chewing cherries off of a tree down at Magdalen Green. And with this photo, what we're trying to get across is we want to concentrate more so on local ingredients. So we're looking to create a chocolate bar, which is the minimum amount of things that can be in there in a chocolate bar is 75%. So we need to have 25% cacao. So local chocolate. This here is soil. Just a quick word on it. The emphasis of organic farming and chemical-free farming. We need to support the biolife within the soil so that in turn they can support the plants, so that the plants in turn can support us in our general health. Thank you, everybody, and all the best.
What about the chocolate? They've got chocolate. Get your hands out. Woo! Take some up the back. Take some up the back. Take some up the back. Yeah, they're nice people too. Yeah, go on. Oh, love a freebie. Oh, well done. Oh my God, it's all got a bit mental. Oh, they're so... Oh, there's going to be wars later on. Well done. Right, thank you so much to Molly and Josh. Let's give them another round of applause. That was great, but the cashew caramello or caramel cashew is amazing. Do try. Okay, not that there's allowed to be any product placement. I'm breaking the rules of Pecha Kucha. Oops. Before we move on, we've got 2 more speakers before break. It goes really quick, I know. And then we've got 6 or 7 more speakers after a 20-minute break. I was just going to say hello to people that are tuning in from afar. We've got friends tuning in from Italy. John Patterson, who used to come here all the time before he moved away, so he's just tweeted to say that he's tuning in and it's great. And Sanna Diker from Kerrymuir, and Graham Oxton in Dundee. So let us know if you're watching from afar, and we'll say hello to friends old and new. Okay, next we've got Dawn Walton. Dawn is a cognitive hypnotherapist, and she has written a book also, and she likes to challenge long-held beliefs about mental health. So we're going to hear from Dawn, who's walking towards me. So let's welcome Dawn. Dawn.
And I have to follow chocolate. Great. So the first thing is, I am a cognitive hypnotherapist, and most people don't know what one of those is. I am not a stage hypnotist. I cannot make you cluck like a chicken. However, if you're disappointed that I can't make you cluck like a chicken, I'm a therapist, so I can help you. So today what I'd like to talk about is creativity, and how creativity works with the brain, and particularly the subconscious. And I'm not going to teach you how to be creative. I'm going to talk about how you unlock your creative potential by looking at what creativity is. And we all probably have a different definition of what creativity is. But the interesting thing about it, I think, is that if you ask most adults, they will tell you, I'm not very creative. I don't have creative thoughts. So at what age do you stop being creative? Because babies are creative, toddlers are creative. Okay, maybe when we get into teenager, we lose it a little bit. But why do we stop being creative? What is it that makes us believe that we no longer can think creatively, because we all start off being able to take a box and turn it into a plane or a boat or whatever we do. So what I want to talk about today is how we lose our creativity, but more importantly, how we can actually get it back again. When Piaget was studying the different stages of child development, he observed that if you put two 5-year-olds on either side of a screen and ask them to describe an object to each other, they can't. They can't because they cannot conceive that they see the world differently. Everybody sees the world the same way they see it. And that's where our creativity gets lost. 90% of the time, your subconscious is in control. It is a primitive and emotional part of your brain that stops you getting killed by saber-toothed tigers. Very simply, and we're all in a trance all the time. That's why I can't make you cluck. We are constantly pattern matching in our brain. Most of you are not here right now. You're thinking about something else. You're thinking about a cardboard box, or you're thinking about what you're going to have for dinner, or that you've just got chocolate in your hand and it's lovely. And that's normal. We spend most of our time, at least 90% of the time, pattern matching. Our brain's all pattern matching. The problem is, every now and again, that pattern matching leads to what I call a bing point. Trademark that. And when a bing point's reached, a signal comes back from that pattern matching, which says, take evasive manoeuvres, time to change. And what happens is, when we have a thought, we believe it. Did your mother ever say to you, if Jimmy told you to put your hand in the fire, would you do that too? Because we believe our thoughts. When our thoughts tell us to do something, we go, it's a thought. It's logical and it's reasonable. The problem is that 90% of the thoughts come from your subconscious. They're ninja thoughts. The ninja thoughts that say, watch out, that's going to kill you. So you think, oh, ninja thought, it must be true, it's a thought, it's logical, it's rational, I must act on it. And so we spend all this time acting on thoughts that are basically trying to stop us getting eaten by tigers. And so because we're doing that, we limit the way we think. Our natural, logical, creative thoughts are limited. And I don't know if any of you have ever read Seth Godin, but he's brilliant. And he wrote a book called Ignore Everything. And I'll let you read the quote. But basically, the thing that came after that quote was, it's really hard to do because it's really hard to listen to your gut feeling. Have you ever walked into a room and worried what people think about you? Do you think you're that important that when you walk into a room, everybody thinks about you? Same question. So here's the problem. The problem is that we have the creative thoughts. They're all in there, but they're all limited by the beliefs of what other people think about us. I can't have that thought. They're going to think I'm stupid. They're going to think I'm an idiot. So instead of actually letting the thought come out, we just limit them by our worries what everybody else thinks. And because our subconscious is in charge 90% of the time, and because it's primitive and thinks we're going to die, if it thinks something's going to hurt us, it interprets that as death, and it keeps us away from death. That's its job. So if somebody says something horrible to you, you think, oh my God, I'm going to die, and you stay away from it. If you sing your little song, and everybody laughs at you, you think, oh my God, I'm going to die. And really, it doesn't make sense to die. That's not good for survival. So you listen to those thoughts, because you don't recognise that they're ninja thoughts, they're not real logical thoughts. So the trick is, to release creativity, is to learn to control your thoughts, to learn which thoughts are real and which thoughts are not real. So there are 3 different approaches that you could take for this. It's not saying sit and stay to your brain. So, first approach, deflection. Imagine yourself in a bubble. And in that bubble, you bounce everything that comes towards you off. Because we all live in our own little weird, warped reality bubbles. And you can't read minds, no matter what you think. So if you realise that you can't read minds, and you don't pay any heed to what comes towards you, you release your thoughts. The other option is distraction. So you distract your brain. Oh, look, there's a squirrel. What? Okay. So I go for a run, because I'm useless at running. And when I run, it kills me, and I get out of breath. So my brain can think wonderfully when I'm running, because my subconscious is going, no, don't go any faster, you're going to die. And then the last option is transformation. It's to allow the thoughts in, but don't let them stay. Don't let them make a home. So as soon as they come in, go, whoa, look, that's a thought. Off you go again, and dismiss it. So you have different options. Don't let it in. Focus on something else, or let it in, but let it straight out again. If you do that, the remaining 10% where your creativity can sit is allow the freedom to actually come out. And that creative person that was there all along, hidden underneath, gets a look in. Thank you. That's what I want to talk about today.
Wow. I think it's definitely lots of topical issues there. I've had about 3 conversations this week with people around confidence and yeah, the brain taking over. So I was just sitting thinking, oh, yeah, really interesting. Thank you, Dawn. We've got one more speaker before our break, and that is Grant Richmond. Grant is a self-employed web developer. He's also leaving us for Pastures New. What have we done? I don't know. But Grant, as a sort of side project, has been developing Dundee Makerspace, which is the pretty amazing space where Creative Dundee and many others are based alongside. So yeah, we thought it would be nice to have Grant up before he left. So please welcome Grant.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm here to talk to you about a genius. So Shia LaBeouf, he's told y'all to go out there and do it, and don't let your dreams be dreams. So I've sort of been following his mythology, like his ideas on life, for a little while now. So I thought I'd become him. And this is a good point to mention the sub game I have in my slides. If you can notice my face in every single slide, you win nothing, but it's there. So I've taken a lot of inspiration from him. And, well, not really, but his ideas are good. So I've tried to, whatever I do, I'm not a thinker. I don't come up with ideas, but I can do something. I can take someone else's idea and I can make it real. I can do that. Anyone can do that. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be particularly driven. All you have to do is just dedicate a bit of time to something, and everybody's got some spare time they can donate. So I want to say something about Dundee. Dundee's a great city because it's the sort of place where one person can make a huge difference to the entire city. Look at what Gillian's done. We're first to say it's all about the people. It's not about the multi-million pounds developments that are going on wherever. It's about the people that are in Dundee that help you out. And yeah, so my journey of what I've been doing in Dundee started a long time ago. I've been living here for 6 years now, but I didn't really get involved in anything that was going on until I left uni. And when I left uni, I was a bit bored, and like all good ideas, this idea that we had started in a pub over a beer. So we had an idea. Someone mentioned that makerspaces are a thing that exist, and we don't have one here, so why not? Well, there's no reason, so why don't we just go and do it? That's all that needs to happen. So that's what we did. We started up. It's just a bunch of guys in a tiny little room, really sweaty, horrible room. But it was a start. We were actually doing something rather than just sitting around talking about it. And that's sort of the beauty of it. And from there, it's just grown and grown and grown. We got our first sort of own unit over in Meadow Mills. And it wasn't very impressive, but it was ours. And it let us sort of have something that was real. It wasn't just an idea anymore. And we just, it's grown legs, really. It's become much bigger than I ever thought it could possibly be. We moved into this giant unit at the beginning of last year, and it was this huge empty space, incredibly daunting. And I thought, no, there's absolutely no chance we'll ever fill any of this, and we're just so lucky to be able to get into here. But we've done it. We've sort of filled it up. It's now pretty full. And so the idea, for anyone that doesn't know, is the makerspace is like it's like a tool shed, sort of, and it's like a community, and it's a bunch of things. But it's just, we have a lot of stuff that people have donated. We bought ourselves. It's all self-funded. It's open, it's inclusive, anyone can come and join in, and we just have a bunch of things for people to use to make anything they can imagine. So we've got high-tech stuff, we've got laser cutters, we've got low-tech stuff like saws. So the idea is you don't learn by reading about something, you just go and actually do it. If you want to learn woodworking, you just go and cut a bit of wood, and you've started to learn woodworking. So this is like a big project, but you know, I get bored. So this is why I sort of do stuff. Is that I need something to do. I get quite bored often, and I always have to have a sort of challenge. And these challenges can be big or they can be small. So something that got mentioned is in an office with Ed, the cameraman, and he wanted bacon. He wanted it just to descend from the heavens and just arrive to him, like. And you know, I thought I could do that. I can get bacon to disappear. It can't be that hard, can it? So we came up with the idea that there should be a button or of some sort, a beacon to deploy when you want bacon. So we did it. This is a box I made. It just has a bunch of buttons on it. But now anyone in our office can say, "I'm going for bacon." Click a button, and then everyone in the office can now see that somebody's going for bacon and reply and say, "I want ketchup. I want a Lorne sausage instead. Please bring me that." But now I'm on to new things. I woke up one day and just realised I was just surrounded by crap. Everything I own was rubbish. I don't know why I have everything I have. I had so much clothes. I literally probably had about that much clothes that I've thrown out in the last few months. And you know, I came in and I thought I'd just start new. I'll just hit it all with a wrecking ball. And I did it. I've been slowly getting rid of everything I own. So if you want to buy anything, I still have quite a lot of furniture. And you just notice once you start it, you just notice how much crap you own. The amount of clothes that I had that don't fit. So this is what I'm going to be doing now. This is the idyllic version of it. I'm becoming a digital nomad. So the idea is all I need to work is my computer and internet connection, and somewhere to sleep maybe is all else I need in life. So the idea is I'm just going to start traveling, and don't know where I'll stop, but all I have is this. This is everything I own now. It all fits into one tiny bag. And the thing is, I had this idea, but it's you can think about this, but the hard part is actually doing it. So you have to listen to Shy, and you have to just do it, and you don't let your dreams be dreams. So I've done it, and all this stuff is, you can see I'm actually got the majority of it here with me today, and it all fits into one bag that I can then just hop on to any airplane and go wherever I want. And that's it. That's all the stuff I own now. So it's not always easy, but it's doable. It's not hard either. It just takes a bit of time, a bit of effort, and like anyone can do whatever they really want to do. And this is just some kittens that I thought were nice to end this on, in case I was a bit too boring. But yeah, I'll just leave you. Just do it, and don't let your dreams be dreams. Thank you.
Oh, bye, Grant. Listen to Shy. Okay, thank you very much. That's it for the first half. Didn't that go fast? So we're going to have a 20-minute break. Then when we come back, we've got sort of 10 minutes for you to shout out any opportunities, events, things that you've got coming up. And that's it. I feel like I've forgotten something, but I'm sure somebody will tell me if I've forgotten. Okay, let's see you after break. Okay, cheers.
scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that, basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network. And it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.
The creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that, basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network. And it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.
creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network. And it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.
The creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network. And it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.
creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network and it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.
The creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network and it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.
creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network. And it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.
The creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network. And it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment and it's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good, it's pretty loud, it's pretty... It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots, it's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee.
We're going to do a quick kind of 10 minutes of who's got what coming up. So yeah, let's do hands up, I think. So super keen bean Claire Brennan.
No, sorry, I was really, really keen. I'd just like to invite everyone to our exhibition, which opens tomorrow evening at the Hannah McClure Centre. In fact, tomorrow night in Dundee is a brilliant art event night. There's like 3 different openings, so you can do a wee trail and come and see lots of different things at HMC and Tin Roof and DCAC, and plug in other people too. The Motherload exhibition, it's about artists who are also mothers and how you kind of strike that balance between your creativity and your mothering self. So come and join us.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Anybody over here? Woo! Woo! Yeah?
Hi, I'm Dawn. I'm from the Dundee Operatic Society. We're doing Dolly Parton's 9 to 5. It's on the 16th to the 19th of March. You can get it at the Dundee box office. We've been performing really hard, so please come and see us. Thank you.
Anybody else over here? Anybody else? No? Okay. Anybody over here? Anybody? No. Wow, everybody's really quiet. Oh, this bit's not quiet. Anybody up here, first of all?
Hi there, all artists, makers, students, anyone. We're just opening a scrap store. Don't know if you know what they are, but it's all recycled, upcycled goods from factories. You need to become a member, but then it's dirt cheap, and we're beside Meadow Mill at Wasps, near Wasp Studios. We're called Scrap Antics. So come and find us, but we've got a Facebook page and the address and everything's on there. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay.
Thank you very much. Everyone should find on their seat this flyer. Welcome, jammers. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Vision Building, we start the Dundee Global Service Jam. This is a 48-hour event where you have 48 hours to change the world. It's fantastic. It's like a music jam, but it's about design, and it's about service design. We've got some fantastic design mentors. Gillian Easton is one of them. Hazel White is another one. We got Dylan Drummond. We got fantastic mentors. For £5 for student or senior citizen ticket, you get 2 evening meals, 2 breakfasts, and a couple of beers. I think that's pretty good. We've got 2 sponsors, Healthcare, designed in Dundee, these 2 fine gentlemen here, plus, if that doesn't tempt you, Domino's Pizzas.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mike.
Hi, I'm Ruth Alexander. I help organise the Dundee Acoustic Music Club, which runs once a month on a Sunday afternoon at the Rose Angle Church Hall, just up the road. And we put on gigs with touring acts from the States, from Europe, and from Scotland and Ireland and England. And we'd love to see any of you there who would like to come along. We sell tickets from Groucho's through Dundee Acoustic at gmail.com. Sorry, I hadn't thought about this in advance. We've got a band this Sunday afternoon called the Horse Necks. They're here from Portland in Oregon, and it's at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. The cafe's open. Cafe opens at 12 o'clock for brunch, so it'd be lovely to see any of you there, and you get a cheaper ticket with a membership, which you can buy for £6 a year. And if you're a student, you get a free membership, so please come along.
Hello. Hi there. Can I just say that on 13th of March right here in the Bonar Hall, there's going to be the Carnaby's Artisan Market. It involves local artists, makers, and a touch of vintage, including myself.
Hello, everybody. I really need your help. Some of you would have heard of the Royal Arch, which was a huge bit of Victorian hilarity that got knocked down in the 60s when they built the Tay Road Bridge. Well, we're going to rebuild it out of cardboard boxes. It's going to be enormous, about 4 stories high. It's genuinely gigantic. And then you knock it down again and everybody gets to jump on it. So we need a lot of help at the end of May. It's going to be the 28th and 29th of May with the building and the knocking over. But before that, we need your cash. We need a £5 from the back of your wallet. If you go to Indiegogo and look for Cardboard Arch, you'll find all the details. You can follow us on Facebook, Cardboard Arch Dundee. And essentially, we're trying to raise the match funding. We've got a little bit of support from Creative Scotland, but we need to prove that we have the rest of the money. So that's where you guys come in. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Hi there everyone, my name's Mackie. I own a couple of pubs along the road in the Westport, the West House, Darcy Thompson and Tinsmith. We've just taken over the former Westport Gallery. Don't know if you're familiar with it. It's opposite the Globe. It was opposite the Globe. It's been there for 22 years. Every boyfriend, father, husband, brother has been buying presents there for as long as I can remember anyway. But the owners have since relocated to Spain. The venue, the unit was empty, so we decided we'd take it on. We'd always wanted to get involved with the creative side of Dundee, and this we feel is a good way for us to do that. We're going to be selling tapas and pinchos and Spanish wines, but we'd like as much art from the local community as well as the university, so WASPs, etc., Duncan of Jordanston, as possible. So if you've got, and we're also looking for staff, so if anyone's looking for jobs, kitchen staff, bar staff, cleaners, anything you want, please either drop a CV into one of the other bars or restaurants, or I might try and post something with you, Gillian. But the people behind Creative Dundee were instrumental in us getting our licence. You might have seen a whole hullabaloo in the press about licensing and what have you, but with the thanks of Gillian and Mike and what have you, it went through. So thank you all very much. Hopefully we'll see you in the gallery next month.
Okay, anybody else got anything else? One more, Anna.
Hello, I'm Anna. Just in case you didn't see the courier today, we're delighted that the first Dundee Design Festival is going to be happening in the totally amazing West Ward building, 25th to 28th of May. There's an open call that closes tomorrow at 5 p.m. if you want to be part of it for a talk, a demonstration. But more than anything, we hope that you'll all support it by coming along and seeing the incredible exhibition that's going to be taking place there. No pressure, Sean, as well as all the different activity. So hope to see you there.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. And we're delighted that next Pecha Kucha time, 26th of May, will be in Westward as well. So it's a big former printing factory, DC Thomson's Printworks, just next to Meadow Mill, just next to Wasps and Verdant Works. And so it's a great kind of industrial space. So it's going to be very different running Pecha Kucha in there next time. I think we're waiting for some lights. I can see Ed looking around. So in terms of who else is tuning in from afar, well, I saw that John Patterson in Italy was glad that he didn't have to queue in the queue anymore. He could just go to his own fridge to get a beer. So good work, John. And then there was people from Glasgow, I saw the Wild West of Argyll, I think, popping up, and all sorts of places. So thank you for sticking with us. I think we're going to do the cheesy shot, but I've lost Steph. Where's Steph? There you are. Can we do the cheesy yay shot to the camera? Yeah? Yeah, why not, eh? So we'll do 1, 2, 3 and then woo or something. Yeah, you're better at this than me, Steph. Woo! Woo! Excellent. Sorry about the people over here. What do we do about the people over there? Okay, well, let's go this way. Okay. Okay, can we do your woos again? Wait. This is Steph, by the way. Woo! Woo!
Oh, wait. Do woo again.
Woo! Yeah? Woo! Yay! Excellent. Sorry. Excellent. Oh, thanks, Steph. Right, okay. On with the show. Where am I? So next up we're going to hear from Sean Parkinson. So Sean was mentioned by Anna. He's the new festival producer, Dundee Design Festival producer. But he's also an artist, musician and everything else in between. So I'm just going to welcome Sean up to the stage. Sean.
Hello. I'm going to speak about the neck. I'm going to share with you some images of different necks in close-up. I'm going to speak about necks in various states of completeness, and I'm going to end by shouting at you all repeatedly. The neck is the part of the body that is both a site of intimacy and vulnerability. It's that space that you lean into with lust and love to kiss, and when kissed makes you crazy. And crazier still, it's where you kind of reach for and wring your hands round when you want to murder. But taken in isolation, it's like ambient music, you know, it's kind of hard to know where its edges are. It's like the back of the knee, it's got nothing really to differentiate it from anything else. But where it makes sense is where it's between something, where it's between the head and the shoulders. This is Miracle Mike. 1945, his head was chopped off with an axe, and miraculously he stood up. He tried to crow, he tried to preen, he tried to peck, but aimlessly, of course, because he was headless. And Miracle Mike, as he was then called, then toured, you know, travelling sideshows where he attracted huge audiences. He later died in a motel room, drowned in his own mucus because its keepers had forgotten the syringe to withdraw the pus and goo that collected around the wound in his neck. It's tragic. But there's a human precedent for Miracle Mike. Bishop Patrick in Ireland in 1074 talks about a man who was headless, lived for 7 years, went around begging with open throat, kind of. And but there's a history that stretches even further back of martyrs, headless martyrs. In 250 AD, Saint Denis, who was the Bishop of Paris, after he was beheaded, picked up his head, walked 6 miles, holding it and preaching a sermon on repentance, which of course didn't happen. He just gurgled like soup. But where the neck does connect with the head and the torso, it bleeds into the chin and it blends into the chest. You know, it's hard to pinpoint where its top and its bottom is, but we know exactly, all of us, where its middle is. Its middle is where we draw our fingers across when we threaten to kill other people across the room. It's where the executioner finds his blade. It's where we crop our passport photos. The historian Daniel Arras talked about the guillotine as a portrait machine, which is a really, really good, comparison to make. The aperture is where you stick your head through. The blade is the shutter, and it comes down almost imperceptibly fast. And all of a sudden, that's it. The head, the portrait. And of course, the man who held the head in place was called the photographer. It was no wonder that it also looked like a painter's easel, and artists were commissioned to come up onto the gallows and sketch super fast the heads that lay in the baskets. And you always featured this forearm, a disembodied forearm, clutching hair and head and blood still dripping from a wound that's fresh. Behold Custine, behold the man, behold the traitor. Also a portrait machine. It was also an instrument of propaganda, because when the blade came down, it rendered the head mute. And the government, or in kind of modern days, terrorist organizations can use captions, can use words in their own right, and the live stream news media to replace where the larynx once was. I recently visited Rodney Mountain. Hello, Rodney, who inserted an endoscope into my left nostril, a kind of lubed up tube, and because I wanted to see the larynx speak for itself. And as he fed this tube through my nostril and halfway into my skull and down into my throat to where my vocal folds were quivering, and I sang a little bit with a weeping eye. And what I found there, this is intimate, isn't it? What I found there was something alien. You know, it's like a fleshy orchid. It's like a naked mole rat that's burrowed backwards down your throat. But also when I sang and these folds clapped like a pink circus seal applauding me. And the seal is the neck absolute. The seal is all neck. The seal is a creature with its features pressed upon the crown of a column of clay and a gash to make a mouth. In 1976, a couple in New England rescued a seal pup, took it back to their house, fed him to excess that they called him Hoover, and they found later that Hoover could talk. Hoover mimicked his keeper, George, even with his thick Bostonian accent. Hey, hey, get out of here, hey, Hoover, good boy. Hoover's 6 seal pups couldn't speak, but his grandson, Chucka, can. You can download a ringtone of Chucka saying, hey, hey, so that every time your phone rings, you hear a seal captured in your phone, which is an echo of its grandfather, which is an echo of its keeper, which is, like all of us, an echo of our mothers and fathers, all captured within this phone, a neck within a phone, shouting, hey, hey, get out of here, hooah, hey, get out of here, hey. Thank you.
Anybody got any ideas what to say? Help! No, it was brilliant. Wow. Okay, thanks very much, John. That was great. Oh, it's when your cheeks start to hurt and they get a bit sore by this time in the evening. By the end of the night, I can barely speak. I can barely. Okay. Next, we've got Lorraine Wilson. Lorraine is a writer, and she's now published a couple of books. Her first was Ticket to the Bridge, and it was a great look back at Dundee's immense musical past and present. And she has also been around Europe. There's a bit of a theme going on tonight, but she's also been around Europe, and she's going to tell us a bit more about her experience. So please welcome Lorraine to the stage.
Hello. See, Gillian missed the I have got a hard neck following that, you know. So yeah, I'll be going to have something in a second. Yeah, this is product placement, I know, but I tell you something, it's better than a picture of me in a pair of granny sandals and a backpack, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I went off for 3 months last year on my own round Europe on trains and ferries and strange buses. And the surprising thing was how many places I found in the 57 different destinations that were like here. This is Aarhus. Aarhus in Denmark. It's the second city of Denmark, and this is the place where I worshipped most at Anne Jacobsen's town hall. But what I loved about it was the fact that it was such a kind of living building all the time, and it was moving. I mean, I tried to worship a lot more in the foyer, but there was a wedding on that day. This is Dengambla, which is it looks very much like your normal kind of tourist destination, but what they tend to do is so much more extreme. They lifted buildings from over the centuries and planted them in Aarhus, completely reconstructed them. So this is a place that's been taken from Denmark. And this is very close to my heart, obviously, Aarhus Rocks. This was part of an exhibition that was within Dengambla. And, you know, who knows about music in Aarhus, but they've managed to create this massive music exhibition, which kind of takes, you know, the history and creates teenage bedrooms and creates studios, and we should do it here. This is Norrköping in Sweden. Now, I have to admit, I got it wrong. I meant to go to Jönköping because it's where ABBA, where Agneta's from, but I got it wrong. But I'm really glad I got here because you can see the mill buildings, beautiful mill buildings, which have been, you know, recreated in ways that are just absolutely stunning. They're kind of lucky all the mill buildings are together. They were called Sweden's Manchester for a long time, but a bit like us, when we lost the mills, we lost the industrialisation and had to think of something to do with these buildings. And they are just absolutely beautiful, and they've been used in really, really creative ways. This is the Museum of Work. It's basically their verdant works, to be quite honest. But they take it to real extremes, and it's just a museum of work that looks at lots of different elements of work from past and present in Sweden. And it was actually a forerunner of the Flatiron building as well, and predates that from quite a long time. That's horrible, but it's also, but if I had to see it, you have to see it. But it's part of the exhibition within the Museum of Work as well, in that they are looking to the future, and this is suits of artificial skin that they're putting together. But I think it brought together so many different aspects of how the Swedes are living today and how they're going to work in the future. That's just a tram, but it sells great ice cream. It's in a place called Turku in Finland. Kiss my Turku. They brand themselves really beautifully, but it kind of reminded me of the Bridgeview Cafe, outside Zara or whatever as well. So it was a wee bit of a reminder of home as well when I was away. But Turku is an incredibly interesting place. It was the European Capital of Culture in 2011, and the legacy from that is incredible. This is Abu Vertu and Ars Nova, and I did say Ars, but that is Finnish. So, and they split it into a living dig, in one part of the building, and then in the other part, it's a beautiful modern museum. But everywhere I went, it was interactive. It was take part in what we're doing here. Get your hands on it. Don't just stand back and look. And this kind of happened particularly all through Scandinavia. I mean, there was nothing that was really standing back and just amazing. This is a big daisy, sorry. It's actually 25 metres long and about 10 foot high, and another legacy of the 2011 Capital of Culture. But it's a bench. I mean, unfortunately, no one's sitting on there, but it's used as a bench. People will sit on this daisy, for hours and hours on end, and it's just beautiful. Into Poland, this is Wrocław, which, as you will see, is a European City of Culture this year. Now, this was probably taken early July, and the city was buzzing even then with so many different things were happening. This was a rainy Monday night in Poland, as you can see, and they've been having these massive kind of events every single night during the week, and if it hadn't been a thunderstorm, then that would have been filled with people looking at a lovely film that night, but unfortunately it was a wee bit wet. Beautiful city. Had never heard of it until about 2 days before I went, which was great. Inevitable food photograph. This is one thing that we do better, I have to say. This is a texture and, colour and flavour, mystery all in one plate. I've no idea still what it was, but I did eat it. But we do that better, I can tell you that right now. See, yeah. Right, yes, the waterfront. This is the only capital that's involved, and in Belgrade. So I walked out of the train station in Belgrade at 7:30 in the morning, only to be presented with a huge billboard about redeveloping a waterfront. Now, if I'm never going to feel at home, when am I going to feel at home? Belgrade is, obviously has had terrible, terrible times in the past, but has also an incredible architectural heritage. Again, I didn't really know very much about it. That was the kind of the theme of the trip. It was pretty much done on the hoof and where it was reachable by the next day. But it's redeveloping the waterfront just on one side because the river runs right through the city, and it's really been done by massive amounts of United Arab Emirates money, which we don't have. Again, this kind of blend between the old and the new, I kept seeing all the time. Belgrade is known as the White City because of the architecture, but you were kind of confronted by transformers everywhere you went, which was quite entertaining. But yeah, the legacy is still there. I mean, the bombed out buildings from the terrible things that were happening there about 25 years ago, and the challenges are there right across Europe. And to see Europe, in such a short space of time, but to see the diversity and what's happening there, and comparing it to what we do here, and of course when you come home and seeing the comparisons and seeing what we're doing here, and knowing that actually we really aren't that different. You can be impressed by so many people and so many things abroad, but we're on the verge of becoming a really great European city. So I'll stay, I think.
Brilliant. Yep, couldn't say it better myself. And I don't know how many. Who's booked a trip to Amsterdam then? Yeah, one or two hands, yeah. Super cheap. God, it's unbelievable. So yeah, the flights just went online today, for anybody that didn't know. Okay, thank you very much, Lorraine. That was great. And next, oh, wait a minute. That's not what I had in my notes. Okay, slight change of scenery. So you're up next, Jordan. So Jordan is the Talks for Tots director, a very impressive charity that she set up herself. She's a graduate of Duncan & Johnson. Lucky I kind of know you, Jordan. Otherwise I'd be a bit scuppered right now. But yeah, Jordan, this is Jordan, everybody. Hi. Oh, well done.
Hi there, I'm Jordan and I'm Managing Director of Talks for Tots to Teens. It's a community interest company that's only very recently been developed, and this picture is my hand with a bunch of change in it, and it's the actual change that a woman came to my door with, and as you can see, it's a clothing and equipment bank. We provide essential aid for families who are struggling to provide anything after food and fuel that you need to for your family to thrive. Now we started on April the 13th last year, so it's only been about 10 months. And we've put together packages for over 600 referred children in the city. So my slides seem to be a wee bit big, but this is my logo that I had to design really quickly because I needed a quick logo. And the little face in the O's, that is the drawing that my dad always used to do of my wee brother when we were little. So as you can see from that fabulous, that's me, not my brother, by the way. So from his fabulous creativity, you can see that he was obviously an artist as well. So, right, quickly talk about my life. So my dad was fresh out of college when I was born in 1981, so you can imagine what a lavish lifestyle we had. Now, these are all far too big, so you can't see my face, but that's maybe a good thing. And so I was always engaged with creativity, doing things, and my mum always told me every day that she loved me. We didn't have a lot, but we got through. Now, I'm an arts educator, and I wouldn't have believed that I would have got to be that unless it was for this man that you can't see, and that is my best friend and father of my children, Graham. Now, he made me believe that I could actually get to art college because I didn't believe that that would happen one time. That's because I'm in the unique position that even though I had such a great start in life, things kind of lost their way. I moved out when I was 15, and I think I signed for my flat a day after my 16th birthday. So the way things went, it wasn't too great. So it's going really fast now, and but it made me what I am. So I love working with families, I love doing art, so I was on the creative learning teams for DCA, McManus Galleries, and you'll always find me making a fool of myself for families. But because of probably a fear of being freelance and also well, the fact I don't like taking orders, I wanted to make my own business. So I started Busybug Creative Play for under fives, and that was brilliant until, well, I had my own children and I couldn't make ends meet. So that felt like a bit of a failure at the time. So I thought, okay, I better take a job. So I started with Play on Wheels, which was, it was absolutely brilliant to work with a team, and I used my skills. We went into all the areas of Dundee, a mobile play service we were, and through them I worked with different organisations like the Lochee Pathfinder, and that was my very first referral that I did, and I didn't know I was going to start it. It was basically a girl who'd fled domestic abuse, and she didn't have access to any of the stuff that she had for her baby that was due in 2 weeks. So I put stuff together for her, decided to do it for other services, and then I'd set up a Facebook page. 24 hours later, we had 1,000 likes. And 48 hours later, me and my daughter were in the local paper. So very quickly we thought, how are we going to do this? So I got lots of volunteers, like Stacey and Mardu, who all came to a donation weekend put on by the Friary. Local businesses all got involved. It was like there was a real buzz about it, and people wanted to help. Because we weren't only helping the people, we were helping people to give. So this is my son looking at sorry, can you hear me actually? Was I too far away? Right. This is my son looking at mummy in the National. You can't see it there, but my face is on the front page, I promise you. And this is a story which shows that every tiny little thing that you give is making a difference. This was a toy referral for a family who had 3 boys, and they needed bedding as well. So we gave this pile, and that dinosaur cover, I got some feedback the next day that they said basically the family had had their first good night's sleep ever, and the child was 3. He was so excited with his dinosaur cover that he slept in his own bed. That impacted the whole family. So this is why we're a community interest company and not a charity. This is about the five things that we think that children need to thrive. And so that's, your clothing, your after food and fuel, it's your clothing, your equipment for development, your toys, things like that. And it's about having the experiences that you need, like I had in my young life. So, sorry, we're going too fast now, but these blankets are from a grandmother of 4 of my referred children, and she actually had, she was so happy to be able to make something to give back, and she said, it's brilliant because you've helped me so much. I'm so glad to make these for you. And it actually stopped me smoking as many cigarettes because it was keeping my hands busy. So I thought that was a win-win. And sorry, I went too fast and I probably missed loads out. But the last one was a Quentin Blake illustration from what I remembered being one of my favourites. And it basically said that kindness is what makes people happy, what makes people attractive, and I always loved that picture. So thanks for listening.
Brilliant, Jordan. A total tour de force is brilliant, and it's just great to see how Togs for Tots has just gone for strength. And sorry about the couple of gremlins in the slide format, and I said it too soon about gremlins. But we're back on track, I think, with Michaela Miller. So Michaela is from Scotland Fife, just over the water in Tayport, and it's a pretty incredible place. If you've not been, maybe we could all go on a wee bus trip over there. But it's a factory that's 150 years old, innovative textiles, and they're now entirely employee led, and it's just such an amazing place when you speak to the staff about why they work there. So I think Michaela's going to tell us more about the organisation, so please welcome Michaela.
Okay, hi everyone. So as Gillian said, my name, you know my name, it's Michaela. I'm a little nervous. So the company I work for is Scotland Fife. I wanted to share with you the story of how we use design in the business, and not in the traditional superficial way that a business would use design, but in the everyday working lives of the company and as a core part of our strategy. So as a company, we are 150 years old, employee owned, and a technical textile manufacturer. Since 1864, we've been weaving products using jute, flax and hemp, and nowadays we use slightly more modern materials like carbons, aramids and glass fibres to weave, coat and knit our products. The material you can see being made here is Textron, which is one of our main product ranges. It's a creped and stitch bonded paper product that's used for the backing of carpet underlays. And this product made the company a lot of money for a very long time. It made us so much money that we really rested on our laurels. We didn't look out to the market, we didn't look to see what was going on, and we didn't worry about making new products that were going to be the next best thing. Sadly for us, we didn't notice because of this that the market had went into decline, and at the same time the recession hit and we began losing money really, really fast. We knew that as a company we needed to change, and we needed to change very quickly if we were going to keep the company going. But we worked in a really uninspiring environment, as you can see, and we didn't communicate with each other, let alone with the outside world. About the time that this was happening, we were introduced to a team at the Glasgow School of Art who were teaching innovation to non-designers. So we sent a team of people from across the company, from the shop floor machine operators to senior managers, and they worked with this team to learn new design tools, ways to problem solve and work together in teams using coffee cups, for example, to solve the problems that these designers were facing them with. And all these tools that we learnt, we then start fitting into the Double Diamond, which is a framework for mapping the design process. We knew that we were really onto something here and started using this in all of our new product developments. And as we were using it, we knew that it was really something good and something that we needed to keep going. So we changed the whole structure of the company. We were completely dedicated to this. We flattened the hierarchy so that all of our employees could have a say in the decision making. And we put our customers as our main focus. We put them right up at the top and changed our traditional business units into market-focused pods. But then we came back to our office, and this is where we worked, where all good design tools go to die. It's a completely uninspiring concrete block, and we were all crammed together and scared to make a noise so we didn't bother our co-workers. So we needed to do something to keep the momentum going, and we put in this fantastic innovation space, which is actually a table. You just can't see because we've cropped the edges of the photo. But it was enough to begin with to have one table for people to gather around and work together without having fear of making a mess. And whilst that was happening, we started to build an actual innovation space. So we took the exact same office that we worked in, but we painted the walls and we spread out and took up more room. It's got loads of different little breakout places for us to go together for impromptu meetings and work in teams. And instead of emails, we'll now grab a hold of the person next to us and go into one of these areas. And for the market-focused business units, we created physical pod spaces with a lot of space again, and round tables with brown paper and whiteboard walls for us to scribble up ideas and really, really start using these design tools. We don't need to worry after one of these meetings about cleaning things away because it's our own space and we can keep things up and keep things visual. Whereas before, after a meeting, we'd have to rip it off for the next group coming in. So you can see here Peter taking these tools and teaching them to all of our other employees, so we began to use them every single day. Scamper is an acronym that we use to brainstorm through when we have a new product. So for example, we will do a brainstorm on all the different things we can combine our new product with. Brainstorming and mind mapping are two other tools that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. They're quite simple and obvious, but for us as a 150-year-old company, they were really transformative. It meant that we went from generating maybe 4 or 5 ideas in a week to generating 100 ideas in one meeting, which for us is fantastic. And the whole time we were doing this, it was really important that we remembered that the cross-functional teams were critical to us. This is one of our new pods, and we have guys who run our machines, working alongside Michelle, who's here tonight. She's a business director and has been with us for 10 years. And she's working with someone like Megan, who joined us at 16 through a job seeker scheme. And all these employees are given the exact same amount of clout in the decision-making process in these pods. And a lot of people think this is because we're employee-owned, but this actually came after. The main reason that we value all of our employees' decisions and thoughts is because of this design approach. And the tools that we learnt with the design school, like Tautocracy, really, really empower our employees. So for someone like me, when I started 3 years ago, it can be really easy to be overpowered by some extremely vocal people in the company. But Tautocracy gives everybody the same amount of votes to place on an idea, their favourite idea in a brainstorm once it's finished. So to round things off tonight, my picture's gone, but it's okay. I want to finish with one of my favourite tools, which is 6 hats. In a meeting, we will physically put on these hats and look a little silly, but the hats will dictate what we have to think and say for the duration of the meeting. So to round things off, I want to metaphorically put on my white hat and only give you guys facts and figures. So since we began this design process, we developed 167 rapid prototypes in 1 year. We created a completely new market which we'd never even looked at before, and 75% of the products that we're making today didn't even exist 5 years ago. And lastly, with Ronnie here, I'm going to put on my red hat and give you my gut instincts. So I believe that this design-led approach has given all of our employees a voice in the company. I think it's a phenomenally inspiring place to work. And also, I'm not entirely sure that Scott and Fife would have survived if they hadn't taken this design approach when they did. Thanks.
Wow, what a clear, concise story. Thanks very much, Michaela. And it's just brilliant to see designers like Michaela staying local and doing really great work just over the water. So thank you very much. Next, I think we've got Ben Seal. Yes, we do. So Ben is a music producer, musician, and lots of other things. And Ben is originally from England, but relocated here. And he is here on the stage. So please welcome Ben.
Yep, as she said, I'm a musician and music producer, and I've got a piece of paper. I've been living in Scotland for 18 years. I've worked as a live sound engineer. All that time, I've also worked as making music for adverts and all sorts of music production kind of things. Played in bands like that. That was me with some friends playing some music in a band. I just finishing an album of my own. I'm about to start making an album for English folky Eliza Carthy, so that's very exciting for me. I also finished recently a master's in composition for the screen, which is a film music master's in Edinburgh University, and the final project was to make 25 minutes of music for a film, and I thought, well, if I'm going to work for 6 months making music for a film, I'm not going to make it for anyone else's film. That's just the kind of person I am. So I made a film. But I thought, if I'm going to do something that's going to take this length of time and it's been this amount of work, it needs to be something that I really believe in. And I've always felt like an outsider, like in terms of just how I've related to the world. I've always been a bit of an outsider. And so I thought I'd make a documentary about being an outsider. And so I started with a set of questions and distributed the questions amongst my friends, who I strongly suspected were also outsiders. And the questions were things like, are you an outsider? Quite obviously.
Shouting at abuse and following him home. Because he was saying that, he knows that he's crazy and that he looks different, and I think that's exactly sort of what it is, because you're not the same as anyone. You are crazy. You are all these things the same.
So, during me questioning all my friends and people I knew and outsiders, I realised that actually what I felt was outsiderness was actually just a synonym for alienation, and for particularly the kind of an alienation that one experiences in childhood. And it's often a case that I think everyone sort of feels alienated in childhood a little bit, and the people who I spoke to who felt their outsideness very early on were the most keenly alienated and most outsidery of all the outsiders. Yeah, I don't make much sense, I've got to say. So great. Oh yeah, and so I was thinking, God, I'm making a film here. I'm a musician, so I thought I ought to get into the visual ideas of it. And I found this amazing female artist called Monica Canilao. You can see her on Instagram as More Feral Than. And one of my favourite parts of her practice is she does this shamanic traditional stick and poke tattoo things on her friends. Like she tattoos her friends with these sort of talismanic pictograms that once set the person as an outsider, but also provide a certain amount of protection, in a talismanic way. And so what I wanted to do was I set about designing tattoos to put as talismans onto the subjects in my movie, and so then I drew them out on After Effects and then stuck them onto people's faces like that, as a means of denoting their outsiderness or otherness, but also as a way of protecting them from the ravages of their own alienation. Where am I? So I asked everyone about their childhood alienation, and in many cases it's a wound that's still there, and in fact I think everyone sort of carries it with them really as they go through life.
Really young, I never felt like I ever belonged anywhere. I desperately wanted to belong everywhere. Or just seeing the anxiety and calling it what it is. Those people in that opinion completely irrelevant and unwelcome and readily dismissed.
Okay, so whilst speaking to these people, I got fantastic stories of childhood heroism and childhood fear and childhood compassion. And one of the stories was this guy, this is my brother, Joe Seal. And he was just walking down the street, he was 11 years old, and across the road he could see a drunken man berating his 6-year-old daughter, and there was some confusion as to whether he was allowed to be talking to her or something, and he was really worried, and there was other people in the street that were really worried, but no one was doing anything about it. So 11-year-old boy crosses the road, and he stands in between the angry drunken man and his 6-year-old daughter and just puts his hands up. And doesn't say anything because he's got no words for the situation, until a third party intervenes. And I think that kind of heroism is off. There's me, look. That kind of heroism is common actually amongst outsiders. It's people who stand up for what they believe in.
Allowing them to break up and dissolve into the nothing that surrounds them. I feel like a sort of buffer between their isolation and the rest of the world. Cooling like evaporation.
And so whilst watching and listening to the stories, an arc developed, and I realised that really what I wanted out of my film was I wanted the audience to ask themselves, am I an outsider? And then I wanted them to invariably answer, yes, I am, because in some way everyone feels alienated. And then by the end of the film, I want them to feel like it's okay to be an outsider, and actually they feel good about that outsider status. And so that influences everything I do now. I like the idea that in some ways one can be a balm for some first world problem in terms of speaking to people about their outsiderness, and it's a lovely thing to do, to speak to a friend and sit a friend down and ask them about their childhood alienation, how they felt alienated in childhood. You might get an amazing story about childhood compassion or childhood heroism, or a terribly sad story about how they grew up, but actually what will come out of it will be a greater intimacy with a friend, and I encourage you all to do it.
Oh. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but absolutely. Be an outsider. Hopefully, do you feel welcome tonight? Where are you? Yeah? Still on the outside? You're still in the dark over there. Yeah. Are we all outsiders? Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much, Ben. Next, we've got two speakers that just literally got involved with Pecha Kucha today. This morning. And I think I'm just going to let them introduce themselves and everything like that, if that's okay, because it's been really incredible. What happened was David, who was due to speak today, David Lyons, unfortunately had a personal incident that he had to kind of go and attend to. And then we had a space, and these lovely people came and said, we will do it. So thank you so much. So Leslie and Natalie from the Motherload Project.
Thank you, guys. I'm Leslie Robertson. This is Natalie Masaleo. We're going to be doing the Motherload project at the Hannah McClure Center. I'm going to read from notes. We want to introduce you to this project. It's a really special one for us. To date, it has come to involve over 100 women from 10 different countries surrounding the idea of how in the world do you strike a balance between being a mother and being an artist. So we thought we'd give you a sneak peek how we started in Texas and ended up here. So in 2012, Natalie and I started working in the studio. She had twins that were 6 months old. I had a son that was 2 years old, and we were trying to figure out, how do we do this? How do we be a really good mother and a really good artist? We were trying to figure out, how does this come together? We had so many conversations that were so valuable to us that we decided to turn it into an artwork. So we started asking artists that we knew who they knew that were mothers and who they knew that were mothers, and so a network started to grow. And so for us, it was almost as we were digging, we were trying to find the mother lode in a way, finding that jackpot of women that are artists that could come together to support each other. So with a growing network of artists, we wanted to document this with physical objects. So Natalie is a metalsmith, and so she was really interested in how copper would hold a mark. And so we decided that we wanted to send packets out with a copper plate to these women that were artists, that had children, and have them printed and leave their mark behind it. So we sent that to them. We had them leave their identity mark on one side, and on the other, we decided we wanted to put a QR code that pointed to their professional life. So we had both sides of these artists on one copper plate. So the physical marks and the QR codes were anonymous. They're really only going to point to the work that the artists were create. They're not going to really give a personal narrative to this idea and how they're balancing it. So as a second element to the project, we decided that we wanted to gather written stories, ideas, and statements from these artists. And they became a very powerful tool for this project. It was a project that really started to get us to think about how we balance it. We were able really to look at understanding how to do this from their perspective. All the different women that were participating were from different media, theater, dance, visual arts, and they all had different perspectives on what it was like to be an artist and a mother and how to balance that. One of the unique aspects was that a lot of the women were from areas that were out of the U.S. and in other areas in part of the U.S. that we didn't have, we weren't able to meet them individually. So we did a lot of Skype meetings. We would actually call someone up out of the blue, never have met them before, and within 2 minutes we were talking about how we were doing life. And we would spend at least an hour or 2 hours with someone we had just met talking about the balance of striking between being a mother and being an artist. So we had all these great conversations. We decided that we didn't only want to just make the physical objects of the copper plates, but that we wanted to have access for anyone to discover these artists as well and to be inspired by their work.
So in 2014, we had an exhibition at the Dallas Museum of Art for the Center for Creative Connections, where we got to share the work, and then also we got to reach out to the community. The museum just recently became free for admission, and so people were able to interact with the work in a way that we hadn't before. We created this scale, and we asked people of all ages and genders, in your life right now, what do you nurture and why? And they could write on a concrete tile and put it on either the side of for self or for other. And this was a constantly moving scale. We got some really crude responses and some really kind responses, so it was really wonderful. From the Motherload Network, we met Jane Keith, who led us to Pernilla Spence, who led us to Claire Brennan and the Hannah McClure Center, and got to come to Dundee. So we created, we got to start having conversations, and they were very enthusiastic about the project. So Simone O'Callaghan, Claire, and Pernilla, this is how we would talk for about a year, and just trying to figure out ways in which we could create this project and reach out to the Dundee community. We really wanted to find ways in which to connect to your community and how the Motherload can be a platform for that. Through the project, we've also had people collaborating with each other. So this is a work from Zoe Irvine and Pernilla Spence, where they've collaborated about the balance of being a mother and being an artist. This is just a snapshot for what you'll see in the exhibition. We also, since this is an international project, we were able to have a symposium where we had 5 different artists from 5 different countries through digital media and through in the audience, and it was a very lively discussion where we could talk to people in the United States, Israel, Australia, and Scotland, obviously. We also were able to reach out to the Young Moms Unit here in Dundee, where we were really excited about the idea of making and connecting with them and hearing their stories about being moms and being individuals and how they're able to do it. It was really through the process of making that we got the stories out of them. So we've created a collective artwork that will also be on display in the show. Marina Sternberg is an artist in the show as well, and she's going to be doing a workshop where you all are welcome to come and participate. Well, those of you who have really long hair. And where she'll be doing this hair bonds and connecting through not only physical connections, but actually conversations. Simone O'Callaghan is also an artist in the project, and you also can participate with her work, and her project is called Sleep While the Baby Sleeps, where she has taken photographs of her children and her friends' children and put them on the wall. You can also see a Instagram feed that's running about with other people's kids, and you can hashtag TML Dundee Sleeps. We're currently installing right now, and hopefully we'll be done before the show opens tomorrow. We had to slide this talk in, so please come and see all the ways in which you can connect to this show. There's a lot of interactive projects. We'll be having film and talks and all that good stuff. So this is us finishing today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, if that's not inspiration to just get up and do a Pecha Kucha talk, I don't know what is. Well done, guys. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, it's really good. Exhibition starts tomorrow. Do you guys want to set up? I'm going to come down here while you set up. So for our final Pecha Kucha session, we have a live instrumental session. So I'll just do some kind of thanks and all that lots. So thank you very much to everybody in the room for coming. It's been a really great night. I hope you agree. Thank you very much to our speakers who come along and do this, you know, for nothing more than getting up on stage and speaking to, I think, nearly 400 people. I've not actually counted the attendee list yet, but I think we're close to 400 people. So thank you to them so much for coming along and doing that. Thank you very much to the tech team at the back, Lyle, Bruce, to Ed and Matt, who are Stream Scotland. Has it been good fun, Ed? Yeah, that's a thumbs up. Okay. So we've had people tuning in from all over. Is Dermot, thank you very much, Dermot, who's been doing our social media all night. This is Dermot. Has there been any, like, we could do like a live kind of Eurovision style thing? Anything happening? No, nothing happening. Okay. Okay. Thanks very much to Claire Defer as well, who's also part of Creative Dundee. Thank you very much to Lara Schuyler, who did the amazing illustration. Thank you very much to... Who else do I need to thank? I've written some scribbles. Oh, of course, Steph. Where's Steph? There you are. That's Steph again, the photographer, who's done Pecha Kucha before, so delighted to have her back. Okay, I think I'll have a wee sit down and think about that, and then I'll pass it back. Okay, so this is Andrew Vasilik, and I don't know your name, I'm sorry. This is Rachel Simpson as well. And Andrew is a musician, funnily enough. And that's the alias of Andrew Mitchell, who's he. And he is part of Idlewild and the Hazy Janes and Art and Memory Palace and loads of other things. And I'm sure Rachel's equally involved in everything, but I just don't know Rachel yet. So I'm just going to pass to you guys, yeah? Okay, welcome them, please.
Hey, all right. That's okay. You can give me as much as you like.
I turned it up for
All right, Dundee, are you ready to rock? Rachel's going to improve my vibe with some flugel. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I took a ride anywhere to clear a sickness blowing through my mind. As life slipped by, I redefined the thoughts that prayed 1,000 wasted words alone on the esplanade. North Sea violet light, violet light. A shimmer on the river, a simmering seed we sow. Riches in the leaves, suddenly it seems I'm home. I'm home. You tell the one about the fix, the ruse, and how I ought to use my wayward heart as you grow a little dark. I redefine the thoughts that prayed 1,000 wasted words alone on the esplanade as new birth fades. New birth fades. New birth fades. New birth fades as new birth fades. New birth fades. New birth fades as new birth fades. New birth fades. New birth fades as new birth fades. New birth fades. New birth fades as new birth fades. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're so quiet and so damn professional. I'm not used to it. Obviously, time is of the essence, so I guess I'll just say most of these images were taken last year during a number of different tours and in a number of different places. This next song is called "The More I Believe, the Less I Really Know," which is probably counterintuitive to the night. I don't know. Here we are.
Change.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you, and Rachel. Thank you very much to both of you. Oh, what a way to end the night, eh? And that's what Pecha Kucha is about, I think, yeah? Incredibly diverse, eclectic, incredible mix of people representing our city and beyond. Thank you very, very much for coming. I don't really have anything else to add other than please sign up for our news mail out if you don't already. We send all the stuff out about what's happening across the city. Next one coming next week is more information about good stuff coming up. And yeah, keep the 26th of May in your diary for Pecha Kucha Night, like even bigger than this, I think, maybe. Yeah, it'll be good fun. Okay, thank you. Okay.
The creative scene in Dundee is one of the best creative scenes I've ever had the good fortune to be involved in. So I've kind of lived all over the UK and I've lived in Spain as well. And here it just happens just like that basically. The connections are made very, very quickly. It's an amazing support network and it really inspires you to keep creating good work and keep making more connections with everybody that's involved in it.
think the creative scene in Dundee is really fantastic. It's definitely growing at the moment. It's really vibrant, and I really enjoy being part of the things that are going on in Dundee.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that the creative scene in Dundee is pretty good. It's pretty loud. It's pretty. It's big and it's doing interesting things.
I think the creative scene in Dundee is really exciting. It's very like grassroots. It's very much like led by the people, for the people. You don't have to be like a big fish kind of thing.
I love the mailing list. I love when it comes out, and I've signed up to a few of the courses that have come out, and I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people and to promote about what's going on, because it's so easy for individual organisations to focus on themselves, but to have someone that brings it together and then disperses that is just a fantastic idea. So big thumbs up.
I love what Creative Dundee do. I have to say, when I first got the job in Dundee, they were my main first point of call. They were the people I looked at the website and I thought, wow, there's so much in Dundee that I wasn't aware of.
I think Creative Dundee really helps the creative scene because it connects all the different projects that are happening in a really like succinct way. So we're all on the same platform. There's no like hierarchy. It's like, this is happening, this is really cool, this is really interesting, and it's all in one place.
I think Creative Dundee is wonderful. I think, to be honest, it's been something that's transforming the city, and it's taking the city to where it needs to be, and it's also doing things that I don't think are necessarily happening anywhere else in the same way. So it's building on and catalysing something that is capable of going to good places, and that's so important for the city.